afterwards. So we're recording now. So again, make sure you're in level 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, ceiling plans, not floor plans, and click on ceiling. Now, the first thing you need to understand or know is what kind of ceiling are we talking about? Are we talking about the gyp hard ceilings like you have in your house? Are you talking about like a gridded lay-in ceiling that you can pop a tile and look above and all that kind of stuff? What are we talking about? So I'm going to show you both, and then you can decide what it is that you're going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a gyp ceiling or gypsum hard ceiling, and we, in our, at least in healthcare, we use them almost like a border or a surround, right? So I'm going to show you that. So under the ceiling types, there's a 2x2 ACT, which stands for acoustic ceiling tile. ACT is what that stands for. 2x4, so it's just the size, a 2x2 square or 2x4 rectangle. 5x8 GWB, which stands for gypsum wall board on metal stud, or 5W8 GWB on wood. Okay, so we're going to do this one because I'm making the border, and I'm going to change the type to a new one, and I'm going to call it soffit. Okay, the reason I'm doing that is I just want the gypsum. I don't want this. Um, um, I don't want the metal studs because when I render it, I don't want you to see the metal. I just want you to see the gypsum. So I'm going to change the structure of it to, sorry, the material of it. I'm going to change to paint. So I'm just looking for white. There's white clad, whatever that is. Okay. And then I'm going to change the thickness to 1 foot. And this will make sense here in a second. So it's going to be 1 foot thick ceiling. Hit apply and OK. And then I'm going to just draw it. Now you can sketch it, you can draw it, you can do a bunch of different things. You can use the pick wall command, which I actually like pretty well.
Oh.
Right? So that way I'm not drawing, I'm just picking walls that already exist. And then, but this is going to be, I'm going to have a two-tier deal. So this is going to have a volume of stuff. So instead of drawing, instead of going edge to edge, I'm going to add some curvy bits.
Okay.
Okay. So the way I like to do curves is using the fillet tool. And so if I just drew a line for a 45-degree angle, this is a design thing, you can do whatever you want. There's if you 1, 2, 3, 4 over, there's this fillet arc, right? So I choose that, and then I click the segment I want to keep and the other segment I want to keep, and I can drag out. Oh, it went the wrong direction for some reason. Let me trim this up. I'm going to trim these up so I don't get weirdness going on. All right, now I'm going to use the fillet tool. Right, so I made a curvy edge there, curvy edge there, right? See how I did that? So that's a curvy ceiling. And then like I said, I wanted it to be a border. So I'm going to use the offset tool, and I want this border to be like, let's say 3 feet. So I'm going to use the offset tool, offset the whole thing 3 feet, and hit OK. Oh, P.S. When you're drawing it, you should know where it starts. This starts at 9 feet. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, when I go to my section, I just want to see what I'm doing in real time. Here's the thing I just made. That's the soffit. Okay. You with me?
Yes.
Now, in that soffit, in the inside of that. Oh, actually, you know what? I just realized I have that going through the stair. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to fix this real quick so it's not cutting through the stair. Okay. There we go. In that soffit, sorry, in the surround, I want a lay-in ceiling tile. So I'm going to do another ceiling. This time I'm going to choose that 2x2 that already exists. I'm not going to mess with the structure of it at all. And I'm going to do sketch ceiling again. This time I'm going to use this tool next to the wall ones, pick lines. So I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to hover over, I haven't selected anything. I'm going to hover over one line, hit tab again, and it selects all the lines. right? So that saves me from having to go around and pick each line individually. I'm then going to pick, I'm going to connect, I should say, this one to that one, and then close that off because I want the inside polygon, not the outside. You see what I did there? Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the outside lines. So what's left is this inside, the filling, if you were, and I'm going to change the height of it from 9 feet to 10 feet. No, I'm going to change it to 9'6". Okay. I hit apply, hit OK. See the grid? So that's a
Mm-hmm.
gridded ceiling. When I go back to my section, what you see now, this is my soffit, and this is the ceiling that's slightly higher than my soffit. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
All that making sense? All right, what does that look like in 3D? Let me show you. Camera, here to there, 16 by 9, right? Are you with me?
Yes.
So now you're seeing a oh, that's not really what I wanted. You're seeing a multi-level ceiling. So this ceiling is higher than that one, and this ceiling is, you know, at 9 feet. This one's at 9'6", and it's a curvy shape. Now, what if I didn't want this shape to be the same as that one? No problem. I'm going to get rid of these bits, get rid of that bit, and I'm going to connect those lines again. But this time I'm going to draw a funky shape thing. Like that, right? So that's a super curvy, funky shape thing. I'm just going to clean up those edges to make sure that these things terminate at those endpoints. Otherwise, it won't be a closed polygon. Right, that, and hit OK. And then when I go back to the 3D view, now you see that funky shape, right? So
Nice.
I have the funky shape border, and then on the inside, I have just more of a regular shape curve. So there's that. Now, all this is really straightforward. I haven't done anything super complicated. You asked about lighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing I was going to tell you is, just like I made those square lights the other day, I can do the same thing, but I'm going to have it trace the ceiling geometry. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go to this floor plan, and I'm going to do component model in place lighting. Okay, lighting fixtures. And then I'm going to do an extrusion. Don't worry about what the height of it is at right now. I'm going to fix that here in a second. So I'm just going to leave that. What you do need to pay attention to is this grass. You need to create a new material called light. Now I've already done one. I did one in class. So there's one down here called light. And the thing I want to look at is what's changed. So in this case, the only thing that's checked is self-illumination. The parameters I gave it were 2,500 lumens or luminance, and the color temperature is daylight cool, so that's good. So that's my material. Now I need to draw the shape. So I'm going to choose this shape, right? And I'm going to offset if it will let me. This thing is kind of funny about what it'll let you do. So let's see if it'll let me. Yeah, it won't let me offset that shape, which is okay. Now what do I do? If I want this shape again, I think I have to copy it like that, right? And then what I'm going to do is close up that geometry, because it has to be a closed polygon, remember? And I can tweak these things later, but I'm just trying to get this is right. All right, so there's my, make sure these lines don't cross, they don't. So there's my light. And the exterior of that light is going to follow the line of the architecture. The interior line is going to be slightly different, but similar. And if I really wanted to tweak it, I can play with it and manipulate the geometry, but I'm just going to leave it for right now. Hit OK. What does it not like? Something's intersecting it doesn't like. Oh, did I make more than one?
Mm.
Oh, maybe I copied something accidentally. Oh, is it touching now? Oh, no, it's not touching. It's just going to get super thin right there, which is okay. All right, let's try it again. Close that off. Good, good, that worked. Now I'm going to look at that thing in, actually, before I leave it, I'm going to put it up around 9 feet. Actually, make that 8.11 feet. Nope, 8.9 feet. There we go. That's what I wanted. And I want to end at 9 feet. So now it shows up in my ceiling plan because it was below, before it was below ground. There it is in section. It's that little bit right there. Okay. And then here it is in 3D, right? So that's the light piece. And what does that really mean? Well, if I turn on Enscape and render that view, what you should see is a ribbon of light that follows the funky shape edge of that ceiling plane. Now I still have one more thing to show you that I said I would show you, which is this curvy section, right?
Yes.
All right, so let me change the time of day. And now there's your light, right? So you can make light any shape you want. It can be curvy, it could be rectilinear. I showed you in class the other day the squares. You can do whatever you want. And if you wanted to, truthfully, you could also make them so they like just a flat rectangle, right? So we're going to do lights again. And this honestly is what I do. You can download lights from lighting manufacturers, but they're so complicated to use, and I just need a simple rendering. This is often what I do. So by default, I will put these at 9 foot. I'm sorry, 8.95 feet, ending at 9 feet, right? And then it's already the light material. And I'm going to copy using the array tool. I'm going to make them at 8 feet on center. So that's 1, 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 feet, right? So 8 feet on center. And I'm going to have 10 of those using the array tool, right? And then I select all those guys again. And I'm going to array this direction. Same thing, 8 feet on center. And I'm going to do that 4 times. Obviously, I have to delete the ones that are not in the ceiling, which is okay. Ungroup. And then ungroup. Okay, so now I have a grid of lights, right? Hit finish model. I go back to my rendering. There's all my lights, right? So there's multiple ways of doing lights. This is the, oh, they're not, oh, that ceiling is higher. Remember? I was like, it looks like the lights are floating. It's because they are, dummy. So I'm going to select those, edit in place. That's fine. Select all of them. I'm going to ungroup them now as make them individuals. Oops. Ungroups. I still have some more groups. I'm going to make sure I unselect all the groups. Okay, now they're all individual lights. I'm going to change all of them from 8.9 to 9 It's 9'6", right? So 9'5" 5.95, and then finish at 9'6". Hit finish model. Go back to, there we go. That looks better. They're not floating now, right? So there's lights. Now, what if one of the things you wanted to see was a ceiling curve in section, right?
Mhm.
And so I remember I used this shape to define the edge of the thing. I'm also going to use that shape to be the baseline for my curve. So I'm basically going to have a curved soffit that curves up to the ceiling. Okay, you following me? And I'm
Yes.
also going to make that curved soffit lit, which is, you don't have to do it, but I just think it's fun to do. So same process, component model in place. I'm going to make it a light. So lighting fixtures, right? And then this time, instead of an extrusion, I'm going to do what's called a sweep. Okay, so I'm going to do a sweep. I'm going to pick my path. You can also sketch the path. You don't have to pick it, but I find it easier. Okay, so that's my path. Hit OK. And now I need to edit my profile. It says, well, where do you want to see the profile? Actually, don't tell Tommy, but I like to work in 3D. So I'm going to work in 3D. Wireframe. And what you'll see is, hopefully, what you'll see is that you see the ceiling section, this, right? Point it out. This is the ceiling tile. The thicker thing is the ceiling soffit. And so what I'm going to do, using that as my profile, I'm going to start the leg of my extrusion up to the ceiling line, right? I'm going to come out, let's say 6 inches. And then instead of, while I'm still in the drawing command, I'm going to shift from straight line to a radius. So I'm going to click to the endpoint and then adjust my radius to something like that. Okay. And make sure the material is light, which I already have because I want it to glow, or whatever that is. That's not light. Man, spelling is just not my thing. All right, there it is. Okay. And then actually, you know what? Just to be goofy, I'm going to duplicate this. Actually, I'm going to create a new material called light, but I'm going to call it light. I'm going to call it accent light, just because I feel like being goofy. And I'm going to change that color from white to pink because it's Easter, right? And I don't want it to be, I don't want it to, I just want it to glow. I don't want it to be the whole thing. So I'm probably going to do LED panel, hit OK, right? And hit check. Now what should happen, right? All I've done was I drew the path, I drew the shape. What should happen is it should follow the path with that shape and make a new extrusion, which it did, although it looks like it did something funky there. I might have to figure that out. But let's look at that thing in 3D. So actually it's there, right? See it?
Yes.
Right? So, and when we look at it in section, you can see, hopefully, there it is, although it's not really showing up. Why is it not showing up? I don't know. You can see it there when I click on it, but for some reason it's not showing up elsewhere, maybe because of the curve. But let's look at it in Enscape and see what that's doing. Oh, it looks like it's a white light. I don't see the pink. All right, let's go back to that. Edit in place, accent light, filter color. Oh, did I not change the filter color? I thought I did. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I did differently. Oh, look, there's my pink accent light, right? And for some reason you don't want pink, you want I don't know. You're more of a blue person. Or green. Fine. Easter green. Voila, green light. Right? So what I just showed you, I think, is that you have you can make any extrusion height ceiling using ceiling components. You can have a lay-in tile, so you have two layers or levels of ceiling height, or you can have sectional ceilings, right? So I'm gonna play with this shape here in a second, and it probably isn't gonna work. It probably isn't gonna work the way I think it is because of that funky shape. So I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna make another cove, but this time I want the cove to come up and over so that that shape is within a cove ceiling. Does that make sense? You follow me on that? All right, so what does that look like? Okay, well, I go back to this guy. I'm going to just make a simple L shape. I'm going to finish that first. Architecture, ceiling, sketch. Oh, no, I'm not ceiling, sorry. Component, model in place. This will not be a lighting element. This will just be a ceiling. Ceilings, and then yes. This is a sweep again. So a sweep, this time instead of, well, I'll do pick path, that's fine. So pick that path, pick that path. Actually, that's not what I wanted. I want the full wall path. So I'm tabbing through to get the wall, and it's not choosing the wall. So I'm gonna, instead of, no. Instead of doing that, stop it. Yes, I want to stop. I'm going to sketch my path instead. Sometimes it's easier to sketch. All right, so I'm going to go to the glass edge here, to that point, all the way to this point, okay? And then I need to look at this in section, but I have the wrong section. Oops, that's not what I wanted. 3D, yeah, that's what I wanted. I'm gonna look at it in the front. All right, oh, you know what? It's also on the wrong plane. I'm gonna set the work plane to be level 2. There we go. Right? And so now what's happening is the top of the ceiling will be at level 2. The bottom is where I draw it. So I'm gonna edit my profile in section. I'm gonna come down the face vertically until I hit the top of that ceiling, the previous top, right? I'm gonna come over a little bit. I'm gonna just make something like this. Come back over and complete that. And then I'm going to fillet these angles. Actually, I'm going to fillet those two also. So it's not just a simple arc, but it's a complex arc. It's arcing in two ways, or two places. And these get funky. So sometimes you have to put in a dimension, like a radius, because you can't eyeball it all the time. So like that one now, but I want it to be 3 feet. There we go. That's better. Right. So it's not a simple arc, but it's a 2-part arc. And actually, I don't know if you'll see this, but I want this to be coved also, or curved also. So this is, now we're getting the Zaha level of curvy bits, which is okay. And hit finish, hit finish. Hit finish model. Now let's look at that guy in, oh, there it is. But it's, oh, did I make it green? Did I use the light material? I think I did. That was a mistake. Let me select it again. Edit place, select that. Yeah, it's accent light. That's not what I wanted. I do want it something interesting. Wood would be interesting. Let's try wood. Actually, Let's try birch. Wood planks. Let's do wood planks. Hit OK. Now it's not daytime, so I need to change my day. There we go. Right?
Oh.
So you see it curving up,
Ah, yes. That is
and it
crazy.
and it turned the corner, right? So there's a little curvy bit there. It curves, straightens up. So yeah, you can do a lot with the ceiling tools and ceilings, but
Wow.
that is a complex spatial reality in the ceiling plane. So what I was asking you all to do, this is probably a little over the top. I'm not asking you to do something like that. But what I am asking you to do is to articulate the ceiling plane in some way. So it's not just a flat ceiling with, the bottom of a concrete floor. That's uninspired, not interesting. This is probably over the top, but I'm also trying to, explain how to use the tool in many different ways. Um, and you can, again, if you don't like something, it's really easily remedied, right? So I actually don't like the accent light. I'm going to get rid of that and look back there. And so now that accent, the green light is gone. If I don't like that curvy light on the edge, that's this guy, that's gone. And so now I have a much simpler ceiling, right? I have the curve edge of the jip, but no light accent. I have the standard 2x2 grids, and then I have this curvy bit at the wall. So there's a million different ways you could do this. I think I showed this to all of you. Maybe I didn't. You can also render the sectional perspective. So let's create a new 3D view. I think, again, I don't know if I showed you this or not, but I'm going to show you a new camera and create a new 16:9 viewport, zoom extents, ZE. Okay, what I need now is to turn on my section box, which is this guy in the view properties. And then I'm going to, oh, crud. I have to figure out how to get, that's not what I wanted. Poop. Is this it? There, that's what I wanted. Okay, so see how I'm cutting through the building now? Like that. Okay. I go back to Enscape and I choose view management. I think it's 3D view now. There's my rendered section, right? And then you can, in Enscape, get closer to it,
With
pan up.
this, can we add the pictures from the site,
What do you mean? Yeah,
like
yeah, you
as the
can,
background?
yeah, you can, well, if you render this, where is it?
And then Photoshop it into it, or
Photoshop. Yeah.
okay.
So if I rendered this with a white background, right?
Oh.
Then you render it and you Photoshop this into the picture and you have your sectional perspective. And now you can see that this is the ceiling, the two
Mhm.
ceilings, and this is the other ceiling and how it's curving and making that weird thing. So, yep, there's lots to be done in Revit ceilings for sure.
If I render this like in Lumion, well, first I put the material in Revit and then I put it into Lumion, would it transfer or no? That's only on Inkscape.
I assume that you can render a sectional perspective in Lumion. I've never tried it, so I don't know. I know you can do it in Revit. Like in Revit has rendering capability. It sucks, but it has it, right? So if, for example, if I wanted to render this image, there's a little teapot down here, show rendering dialog, and it pops up like this. It takes forever, which is why it sucks. But I'm just going to do a draft render. Okay, sun only, no interior lighting, and hit render. And you'll see it. But you can render a sectional perspective in Revit for sure. Right, there it is. Uh, it's
Not
I
that
mean,
bad.
yeah, it is. It's pretty terrible. But anyway, so there is in-house rendering in Revit. Yeah, I don't think it's very good. I don't know if Lumion will allow you to do this. I just don't know the answer. But Enscape does for sure.
Okay. I'll try to use Enscape anyways.
I do
Yeah.
know if you export like in Rhino or Revit, if you export the model with the section cut, it'll export it to Lumion like that. So you can do it like that.
Yeah.
Because if you if you have the section cut in Revit and you want to do it in Lumion, then yeah, you can just export it as a section model.
Yeah, that's more knowledge than I know. I've never tried that. Yeah, I can't help you with that. All right.
Okay.
What else?
I do have another question about the floors. How
Okay.
do you articulate the floors? Like I know how to put a floor in Revit, but like I don't.
Oh, that's a great question. All right, so let's do this floor because we're already dealing with it. Let's see. I'm just going to select because I can't select just the floor, so I have to select everything and then just weed out the floor. So there's the floor. There's two ways of doing this, okay? I'm trying not to be sarcastic. There's the easy way, and then there's probably the right way. Okay. Both work. So by definition, right is relative, right? Um, the easy way is what I'm about to show you. I'll show you both. Here's the easy way. Okay. If I go into 3D and because I don't know what design you're thinking for that floor articulation, I'm just going to propose something. Okay. So I'm going to isolate the floor just because it's easier to work with. So I'm going to isolate just this element, right? So there's my floor. There is a tool in the modify section called split face. Have you guys played with this one?
No.
Okay, so you click that tool and you click the face you want to manipulate, and now you can draw something. I'm going to draw. I'm going to move. I'm going to pop over to the ceiling plan, and I'm going to draw the ceiling using the pick tool. Here we go. Right, and then when I go back to the floor plan, which should be this one, right? There's my split face. Hit OK. If I use the render, sorry, it's this guy, textures, you'll see everything is wood, right? But I actually want the inset to be something different. So I'm going to use the paint toolbox. And again, for Easter's sake, I'll make it pink. Now I have a pink floor, right? Because it's whatever shape. So when I get to Enscape, what should be happening? Why is it not happening? Did I stop the Enscape? I don't think I did. It should be showing me a pink floor. Huh.
Oh, you
Weird.
haven't. Oh.
Let me pause. Synchronize views. All right, now let's try it again. There it is. There's my pink floor, right? So I'm going to go to view. There's my pink floor, right? So that's one way. So use the split face is the easy way. It gets complicated when you want something like a terrazzo floor, like a mosaic, right? And you know what I mean when I say that, right? If you type in mosaic terrazzo, as I wish I could spell truthfully,
Okay.
and hit images. So if you want something like that, right? If you want that kind of pattern, the easy way gets complicated because the split face tool doesn't work when you're touching lines. So you would have to offset the split face by 1/16 of an inch to make two different. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Then you would do the hard way, truthfully, right? So here we are again, split face, right? But instead of that, and I can edit this, it doesn't have to look like that. So instead of this now, let's say I wanted, I don't know, 10 feet something, right? That could not happen. They can't share lines. So then you have to split it. And then it gets really funny about what it will allow. But now in theory, I've split 1, 2, 3 times. Let's see if see, it freaks out. It won't let you do that. Okay. So then what you have to do is get rid of this, get rid of this, hit OK, and then you have to split the face again. But this time you're splitting this one, right? And I'm just going to do a circle. Hit OK, go back to 3D. There's my circle. I'm going to paint it a different color. Again, Easter themed. There's blue, green, right? You probably can't see it in Enscape. Yeah, let's see. Or it hasn't updated, or both. Enscape, synchronize views. Go back. You know what I could see is should be 3D 2. There it is. There's my green floor, right? So just be careful about using the split face because it has some weird rules that'll trip you up, especially at 3 in the morning. Like, why is this working? And you punch your computer because it's not working. So that's the easy way. The hard way, which is also probably the best way, I'm going to show you that real quick. And what that means is you model each floor separately, right? With its own material. So for example, I'm going to add a new floor. And it doesn't really matter what the makeup is because we're going to change it. So we're going to call it floor 1. Okay. And because I already have the split face here, I'm going to just trace it because that's easier to do. And hit OK. And it's going to say, yeah, you have competing things. That's fine. I'm going to select the split face and delete that, right? But now I have 2 floors, but they occupy the same place. So I have to cut one floor out of the other one. So I got to go back to this, edit the boundary, select the cut, hit OK, undo splitting element, that's fine. Now I have 2 different floors. This floor can be any floor in here, right? So this is the smart way to do it, right? You model each floor as a separate thing, and that you get much more control over the shape of the thing, the thickness, the actual material of the thing. What I would the easy way is it's just like painting something, whereas this is building something. If I cut through the section of that floor, you'll see that the floors are fundamentally different, right? They're different from each other. This one is the wood joist. This one is the concrete filled. If I change that to steel joist, you'll see it changes yet again. You can't do that the simple way with the split face. The split face is just paint. Whereas if you're trying to change the architecture, then you have to do it this way. You have to physically model the floor separately. So there's 2 different ways of doing it. It's probably a lot more complicated than I made it, or unless I made it more complicated than it is. There's 2 ways of doing it. For our purposes, the split face should be just fine. But for the real answer is you should build them separately. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, sweet. What else you got?
No, that was it for me.
So,
Yes.
we are struggling with our skin.
Skin, yes.
It was done in Rhino.
I cannot. You've exceeded my potential to help, but keep going.
So you don't know how to export it into Revit.
I know it's possible, but I don't know Rhino. I don't teach
Okay.
Rhino.
Oh,
I know it's possible.
yeah, it's okay. So how would I go about making it in Revit? It's like
Mm,
it's more of like a placement. It's kind of like how you did the ceilings, like how you did that cove,
mhm.
but around the building. And so I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to do that in Revit now because I can't get it out of Rhino.
It's a really hard question to answer because I don't know what your skin design is.
Exactly.
But I will, so I was expecting Mario to be here because he wanted me to show him something. And so I'm going to show you what I was going to show him, and this may get you to where you want to go.
Okay.
Okay. So what he wanted to know is, and we have it on the first floor, sorry, second floor. So let me go to the second floor. Remember we designed in this opening, this funky shaped
Mm-hmm.
opening that I ruined because I now have this thing. So let me go back to my section and get rid of this Archie thing. Let me get rid of that. All right, that's gone. So now we go to the second floor. You can see the opening, right?
Mm-hmm.
What he was asking, or I think what he was trying to ask, is I need to create a railing system that will follow that line, but is not but it's a custom rail, and we couldn't get the Revit rail system to work well. There's two things in Revit that absolutely suck, and there's just no way around it. The railings suck, like they're not awesome. And then the site model stuff in Revit is not awesome either.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is brilliant. So I'm going to show you what my proposal for him was. It's not a quick fix or an easy fix. It's laborious, but it is the right thing to do. So what I told him is you need to model each panel of the mullion and apply it. And he says, well, how do you do that? The the easiest thing to do, and this is why I'm saying this might be applicable to your question, is you need to create a new family, a new component you can drop in. Okay. So I'm going to create a new family. And so Mario, if you're watching, this is for you. Um, where is it? Generic model. Okay. So what you do is you go to File, New Family. There's different family types. I always use generic model because all the other stuff comes laden with extra information. It's not necessary. Always use generic model. The orientation of this family is important. So it defaults into floor plan, which means a top-down look. I want to draw an elevation. Okay, so I'm going to look at the front elevation, and I'm going to model a simple extrusion. Now I know this panel is, let's say, 4 feet wide and 3 feet tall, right? Okay, so that's the thickness of this railing. I know it is probably 4 inches. Sorry, make that 2 inches thick tube steel all the way around it. So think of it like a donut. And then I know that there's going to be some weird geometry in the center, right? I don't know what he's planning, so I'm just going to use, an asymmetrical circle kind of thing, right? Um, it does get complicated in the design solution because you're going to start cutting things and molding things and melding things. So this is where the laborious part comes in, but you'll understand here in a second. So um, obviously steel can't float within steel. You have to connect it in some way. So I'm going to draw lines through it. And then I'm gonna offset those lines the same amount. And then I have to do a bunch of cutting and pasting or cutting and trimming. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one first, right? So I can make a closed polygon, right? See what I'm doing? Same sort of thing. It gets really funky at the circle, so we're gonna cut it in all four sides. And this assumes a simple extrusion kind of thing. Now, if I wanted the frame to be thicker than the piece in the middle, I would build them as two separate pieces. But for right now, I'm just doing something simple. Right. And I just want to get my point across, and then we can talk about more complicated things. I don't want the stuff in the middle. I just want the stuff on the ends. So we'll do that in a second. And sometimes it's easier just to stay within the tool. So I'm using the cut tool, and then I'll go back and trim everything. So I've decided, I've changed my mind as a designer. I don't want these pieces. I'm going to delete them. I don't want those pieces anymore. So now I just want the edges, right? So using the trim tool, which is my favorite, I'm gonna cut these things. You get the sound effects because they play off in my head, and I figured if they're in my head, you have to hear them too. So here we go. All right. Okay. So there's my custom panel, railing panel, right? So hit OK. And that's just the structure of the thing. Now I need the, oh, by the way, this is, what did I say it was? It's not a foot thick, that's for sure. Let's make it 2 inches thick. Okay. And then I need the stuff in the middle, right? Because there has to be a different material. You can't have a railing with more than 4-inch separations. So this is going to be metal and glass. Okay. So this is getting super complicated. I don't mean it to that. You don't have to go through all this. You can assign the material here, and when you import it into Revit, it'll pull the materials with it. Or you can just assign it a material tag, and then you can assign the material in the main model. I'm going to do the latter because that's the right way of doing it, not the fast way. It's the right way. So what I mean by that is I'm going to select this object and hit this little button next to it. Normally I'd hit this one. I'm going to hit this one, and I'm going to create a new parameter, and I'm simply saying frame material. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Hit OK and hit OK. When I get to the Revit, when I load this into the Revit model and I place it, that will make more sense. Okay. Now I'm going to do the inserts. The inserts are going to be much faster. So it's another extrusion, but this time I'm just going to trace, right? So I don't have to do a bunch of drawing. It's all tracing. Okay. Now the only thing here is all of these things. I'm going to create a new parameter. This is, and I know it's going to be glass, so I'm just going to call it glass. Okay. So I hit OK. You could call it insert material if you want to get crazy. I'm going to leave the 1 foot thick, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. So right now it's 1 foot thick. Everything else is 4 inches. Hit OK. I'm going to go back to plan view, and then here's the thing. This is the frame, right? This is the glass. Because I left it a foot thick, I know they're different. I want the glass to be inset the frame, so I'm just going to pull it in, right? Does that make sense? You with me? Okay, when I look at that thing in 3D, and you want to see it shaded so you can tell that it's solid, right? There's 2 elements. There's the frame, there's the glass. I'm going to save this. It's a very simple thing. I'm going to save it somewhere I can find it. I'm going to call it, what do I call it? Railing panel. And then I'm going to load it into my project. There it is, right? You see it in my cursor? And I want to make sure I'm on the right floor. So I'm going to go to level 2. It still is there. And this is where it gets funky. I have to manually place each one, right? This is where it's going to take time. So I'm going to pick my points and line them up, and so on and so forth, right? So copy, paste, and then you're going to have to manipulate this one a little bit, right? You have to pivot. So pivot from the center point somewhere around there. See what I'm doing? So this takes time, but when you get there, let me make sure escape is synchronized. It has value. Let me go to 3. There's my panels, right? You seeing them? Oh, I thought there was an opening in that floor. Oh, I didn't make the opening. Ah, I'm so dumb. All right, let me go to the floor. Filter, floor. Sometimes my brain just doesn't do what I think it's gonna do. All right. And I want to trim. Actually, trim does not work with this. When you use those spline tools, trim doesn't work for whatever reason. Okay, that works. All right. Okay. Now I have an opening and I know it because there it is in section. I actually need this ceiling to go up to the bottom of the floor so I don't have a big gap, right? I don't want a plenum space there. And so how big should that be? Let's see, 4'1" is what that needs to be. So change that construction to 4'1", hit apply, much better. Now when I look in, oh yeah, there it is. Look, see? So there's my ceiling, which goes to the bottom of the floor. There's my panels. Oop. There's my panels. And then now, because I built them smartly, pat on my own back, I can apply the materials here, right? So under this panel, I'm going to edit the type and see where it says frame material and glass. Those are the things I put in. I'm going to change frame material to water would be funky, but I don't want to be dumb. Let's do wood birch. Mario is here. Okay. So here's wood birch. And then I'm change glass to glass. There should be glass in here somewhere already. Here's glass. Okay. All right. Apply an okay. Make sure it worked out. Look, looky look, right? So that's it. Thanks for coming, y'all. As Mario's been here like 30 seconds. But that's it. So Johnson, to answer your question, what I don't know what it is that you're talking about, but if you're talking about something that is anything that you can model in 3D, you can make as a family and import that family and use it in any way you want. And so for what you're talking about, which is exactly what I was going to tell Mario, model that thing separately, import it, and use it however you want to use it, which is what I was going to suggest for the railings. So that's what I would do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, Mario, I just showed them everything I was going to show you. So I'm going to ask you to, I'm going to publish this video. I'm going to ask you to go back and watch the video. Because it might take a minute to do all that over again.
Okay.
But everything you were going to ask me about the custom railings, right? As families.
Yes, kind of. Do you have time for me to just share my screen real quick?
Yeah. So, well, let me make sure that Erica and Johnson are done first. Are you guys good?
Yeah, of course.
Any
Uh,
more questions?
I do have another question.
Go for it.
I was just seeing here about the ceiling planes. It only shows me like two, like level 1 and level 2, and I have like 4 floors. So how would I add that?
Well, good question. Sorry. Chocolate raisins, I know they gross you out. Notice that I have 4 levels, right?
Mhm.
Only 2 of them are blue. The other 2 are black because they aren't in my browser. When you have your other floors, did you add level lines like this? Or do you not have level lines?
Let me see. Where's
Okay,
my
good luck,
name?
you guys. Thank you, Professor.
Bye. Welcome.
Yes, I do have level lines.
Are they black or blue?
Blue.
And you don't see ceiling plans under your browser. You don't see level
No,
3 and 4.
no, I only see 1 and 2.
Well, mine are black because I don't have them showing. I'm going to show you how to add them, or at least how I would add them. In my case, I'm not sure what's going on in yours. But anyway, go into view, and where it says plan views, click that drop down and say reflected ceiling plan, right? And you'll get this dialog. look at the bottom. It should say do not duplicate existing views. I don't have 3 and 4, so I'm going to click Control and add them both. And then notice both of them showed up in my browser, 3 and 4. If you do have 3 and 4 already that just turned off or whatever, you would have to uncheck that do not duplicate, and then they'll show up.
Oh, okay.
But that's how it works.
Ah, okay, ya va. I see.
Good?
I did it.
All right, awesome. Awesome. Good job.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Mario, what's up?
Bye,
Okay,
thank you.
so I'll just show you what I have, and then if you could just confirm if the video explains it, then you don't have to say anything. I'll just watch the video. So, oh, it says sharing is not turned on.
Try again. I just turned it on.
Oh. Okay, so I already have this family created,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a baluster panel family.
Mm-hmm.
And then we needed to get it in to these railings, but it doesn't let you do that by editing the type.
Right.
So I just needed to be able to like copy and paste this into the model.
It doesn't work like that. So what you're going to have to do, unfortunately, and this is what I was trying to explain in this video, is each one of these railings or panels, you'll have to export as a DWG, import into a family, trace them in that family, and make a family panel, which is different than a railing panel, right? And then you just and then what I'm describing to you will the rest of my video will explain how to make those, right? So
Okay,
let's do this real quickly because I have to do some real work.
okay.
Can you email me that panel? What version of Revit are you in?
2025.
Mm, I
Not
don't
sure.
have 5. I have 4. Um,
Oh,
I don't think I know Revit's not backward compatible.
yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this then. Let me walk you through this process. You're in the panel family now, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me share my screen. And I'm gonna walk you through a process that I need you to do, and then you're gonna email me the CAD file.
Okay.
All right, so I just made a custom family to show them. I was trying to answer Johnson's questions and yours at the same time. This is a panel family I made,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just a generic model. It's not in the panel families, right?
Yeah.
So what I need you to do is in your panel family, I need you to give me an elevation view like this one.
Mm,
Okay. And then in that family, go to File, Export, CAD Formats, DWG.
okay.
Okay. And then choose, and you can just, take all the defaults and hit Next. And it will ask you what version, just pick the lowest version, like 2007, which is fine. And
Okay.
then hit OK. And then you're going to email me that file. Can you do that real quick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll show you what I was going to recommend.
Okay. Uh, so email you the DWG.
Correct.
Okay.
Only because I don't have 25, so I can't take your Revit family.
Okay. Just ignore the name of the file. I was getting
Okay.
so fed up with due to the fact that I named it toilet. So
I have seen way worse. I have seen way worse. All right, got it. All right, so save. And you were in a 2D view when you sent it, right?
Oh, oopsie.
You have to be in an elevation view.
Okay, I'll send another one real quick.
Because it says 3D. I was like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah. Okay, I just sent you the elevation.
I don't have it just yet. Come on, I wake up. Last one came through fast.
Oh, it was a reply to the first one. Oh,
Did you reply to yourself?
I think so.
It didn't come to me.
Right, there you go. That should have sent.
All right. There it is. All right. So this one's called panel. It's totally fine. All right. So here's the process. So let me share my screen. All right. So what will happen is, and you'll have to look at the video for this, but I'll show you. I'll kind of recreate it. In your Revit file, you're going to go File, New, Family, right?
Mm.
And then when you get there, it's going to ask you for different family types. My assumption is you chose railing panel or something like that. I want you to choose generic model. Okay.
Okay.
So you choose generic model, and that's what this is. And it'll show up as a floor plan, right? But
Mm,
I want you, before you do anything else, I want you to shift to front elevation. And then you're going to import that CAD file you just sent me. So import CAD. I gotta find where I put it. Downloads panel, right?
mm.
So there it is. Did you dimension the hell out of that thing? What's going on? That panel is huge.
It's 5 feet by like 4 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I already have this one, so I'm gonna manipulate the one I have.
Mm,
And actually I have a two-parter. I have a glass inset, so I'm just gonna. All right, exit or extrusion. Okay, so you're just gonna make in this elevation view, you're gonna make an extrusion, okay? Oh, I see. So the filigree, this Lotus or whatever this is, might have to be done as separate extrusions, but we'll play with that here in a second. All right, so when I'm
okay.
using the pick tool is I'm going to use the pick tool to pick all the geometries. It won't let me pick that one for some reason. This might take a minute,
Okay,
actually.
some of them are splines, so I think
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, pick tool does not like splines.
Mm,
So that's probably what's happening. So I'm not going to do all of it. I'm just going to show you, like a piece of it, and then
yeah,
you can do the rest of it.
okay.
But so anyway, so you're gonna create a new family type. I'm just gonna do this one bit. And I do think you want to make them different thicknesses, right? So like the filigree should be a thickness, and then the frame should be a different thickness. right?
Mhm.
So I think I got all of that bit. And then I'm just gonna do, this is gonna take a minute. I'm just gonna do this filigree in the frame. So this filigree is at 2 inches thick. Actually, that's probably closer to maybe 3/4 of an inch thick, probably should be. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't connect the dots. And actually, I'm going to, this is explained in the video, so you might want to watch the video for this part, but I'm actually going to make it a foot thick. And you'll see why here in a second. So that filigree is a foot thick, okay? And then I'm going to make a separate extrusion, which is the frame. And essentially just making, a box within a donut, if you will. And that one is going to be 2 inches. And you do want to look at the video, but I'm assuming you want the filigree and the frame to be different materials. My assumption is the frame is probably like a wrought iron and the filigree maybe brass or copper or something, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But in the video, I explain how to assign 2 different materials to the same extrusion.
Okay.
So make sure you look at that. So there's the, well, I can show you that. So there's this extrusion. Instead of picking the material here, you pick this little box and you're going to create a parameter for it. They're really, really simple. I'm going to create one right now. So this one is called, well, I actually already have this. Frame material black, maybe. Right, so there's that one. I'm going to create another one called filigree, and I have no idea how you spell that. Filigree, I don't know. Right, so there's those 2 materials I just created. And so this extrusion has frame material black associated with it. This extrusion has filigree associated with it. Okay. And before I leave it, I'm going to go into the floor plan and the filigree, which I made a foot thick. I want it to be a much less than that. I want it to be inset, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to look something like this, right? Obviously, you're going to spend time to do all of it. I just did a little bit.
Yeah.
Assuming that's what you want, I'm going to delete the CAD. You have to delete the CAD before you export it. Otherwise, it's going to do funky things to Revit. I'm saving it. Yes, and then I'm going to load it back into the project. And I already placed a couple of them. So there they are. And what I explained in the video, this is the part that you're not going to love. You have to place each one individually and
Yeah.
then rotate it. But so there's just no way to get around that, especially when you're working with splines. So, but you just, pick the piece, rotate it to the position you want, copy the next one over, end to end, I assume, and then rotate that one. I would pivot in the middle so the gap isn't obvious.
Yeah.
Oops. Here we go again. Did something funky. Move it. Okay, now I'm going to rotate in the middle. And then make sure you rotate mid to mid, right? So you see what I'm doing? So that's gonna take a minute, but it'll be worth it, right? So that's the process. You because you already have all that work done. You import that work, which you now have you already have the export. Import the 2D CAD, trace it as 2 different extrusions, and then manually place each one.
Yeah.
And then Bob's your uncle. Now here's the thing. Because I did that step where I identified each material differently, I have control of it. So the filigree, I can choose without knowing what the material is when I make it. I can now come into the Revit model, pick something. And so I was thinking, copper or whatever, wherever that copper is. There it is. Okay, so there's the filigree is copper, and then the frame maybe is black or wrought iron or something. Opaque black. Let's actually steel black. That'll be not so shiny. Hit apply and OK, and that applies it to all the families. So that when I go to
Mhm.
render it, there they are, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have to pick each one individually and apply materials to it. I
Mhm.
applied it based on the extrusion in the family, and now when I
Yeah.
apply it, it applies to all of them.
Okay, cool.
That looks like a mirror. I don't remember. I don't think I intended to mirror that. So you just be
Yeah.
careful when you do the copy paste
Mhm.
thing.
Luckily,
That
the panels I made are symmetrical, so it'll be fine either way.
so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, I mean you could mirror it, and if that because actually I think mirroring might be faster.
Mm.
But just make sure you copy it and then rotate around the pivot point, which is the midpoint of
Yeah.
the frame, and that should, in theory, minimize the gaps.
Mm.
So instead of rotating on the end, which you have a big gap, you rotate in the middle, you have a minimal gap.
Yeah.
So
And these are mostly going to be there for the rendering, so
yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I don't see a gap there, and that's the process I just
Mhm.
showed you was that. So
Mhm.
that's how I would have done it. I mean, I could have taken the time to trace all of it and just email you back the family, but
Well,
you know,
you don't have to do
you,
that. So
you now know how to do the process. So that's what I would have done.
yeah.
And then what I showed them, as I showed them how to make ceilings at different heights and curvy ceilings, which I've already shown you guys actually, is how to
Mm.
make those vaulted, the curvy vaults. So
Mm.
yeah, you got plenty to work with.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have time for one more quick thing?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. I'm having an issue with these balusters on this separate railing where they're like in the family, I can't figure out how to get it so it like automatically adjusts. So like the angle is for the stairs, but then like on a landing, like they still come out angled. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Did you model it in the angle?
I'm sorry?
Did you model in the angle or did you?
Well, first I modeled it without the angle, and
Mhm.
then on the stairs, the railing was like floating overhead. So then I modeled the angle in this, and then put it back, and then that's when this happened.
So there's a situational parameter, and this is way beyond my knowledge. I I know of it. I don't know how to manipulate it. There's a situational parameter that you can assign. So balusters, the angle basically is a toggle on off,
Mhm.
and it knows that when it's not on a tread but it's on a landing to toggle off the angle. I
Mhm.
know that exists. I don't know how to do it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm afraid you'll have to spend some time in YouTube or Google and try to figure that out.
Yeah.
I will tell you what I would do as a designer, especially at this stage of the project. I would give up on the angle and just let
Mhm.
it bleed into the tread. So I would
Okay.
figure out the height difference thing, figure out why the height is changing from stair to tread, from
Mhm.
tread to landing, and not worry about the angle. That's just me. That's what I would
Okay.
do.
Yeah. No
And
worries.
and just let the bleed happen.
Okay.
Good.
All right. No worries. That's all.
All right, sir. Good luck to you, and we'll talk again Tuesday.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.